These are some of the metrics I look at when I assess a rental property. Peter here from Landlocked Lending. Let's jump right in. So I'm looking at a deal right now that may not look like much based on the monthly cash flow. It's just because I'm taking on a large amount of debt right here, as you see. But there's a few things I want to look at ahead of time. So 20 years from now, for example, what does that look like? And there's actually two KPIs that I like to kind of assess on the long term. The first is, of course, the internal rate of return, which is completely underrated metric. The other one, of course, is everyone kind of intuitively looks at is equity multiple. They're similar, but quite different. Equity multiple is very straight pencil math. Essentially, if I put down, for example, $40,000 here, and later in 20 years I make, in this case, it seems like I would make about like 400,000. It's a 10x return on that 46,000 that I originally invested. Now, the fallacy with that is, well, the cash 20 years from now doesn't really mean much, of course, because it's inflation happens. Now, the internal rate of return is a way to kind of adjust that. And basically, the cash that you earn later on basically is less effective. So actually, if you think about it, the internal rate of return for like a year one, year two, where that cash inflation doesn't really matter, actually is very much the same. Now, real quick, interesting point is the internal rate of return. Some of the cash reinvested in is reinvested into the same rate of return, 11.78. That usually never happens. And of course, where you're going to find that, even the stock market can't even get you 11.78% return. Now, this is a way to kind of assume that, okay, all that cash you kind of saved up in the rental properties, you put back into something like a savings account, which is at 4%. This will kind of give you a better kind of reflection of what happens to your cash if you do save it. Now, of course, you could also assume what happens if you don't even save it at all. Of course, then it drops to 9.60. By the way, S&P 500 is 10, so that's benchmark. If you spend all your money, you're actually not making that much anyways. But it's a nice reflection of the long-term thinking about what your investment is, just aside from some of this short-term month-to-month cash flow.